Hello and welcome to Perspectives. My name is David Schoneman. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. Well, we are approximately 42 days into the second Trump administration here. 42 days. A lot of times folks are talking about what a president does in the first 100 days. We're not even halfway there yet. And things are happening. We say this a lot on this show, but it's true every time we sit down and talk. A lot of things are happening. And at the 42nd day, there's been a lot happening. I'm in the studio once again with a couple of guys here who enjoy sharing some of their thoughts with me. I like talking about this stuff. It's very interesting to see how history is being made on a daily basis. I'm here again with Dave Narkunas and Greg Faith. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Great.
Always glad to have you here. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been in, and a lot is going on even in these last 2 weeks. We talked a little bit before the show about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is kind of a lightning rod. There's a lot of stuff going on with him. He's getting a lot of attention. A lot of good attention, I think, from the three of us.
Oh, yeah. I love what he just did
getting
yesterday.
bad attention, from some of the people who he's finding are part of fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah.
What do you got, Dave?
Absolutely, David. He is relentlessly attacked, and from what I gather and what I heard him say, getting tremendous numbers of death threats.
Really?
For someone who's not even getting paid to help to save so much money for this country.
Yeah.
And, took the position from, the president. And the important thing is people are saying, it's unconstitutional, go back to your country, And it's like, he's an American citizen, for one, even though he's from South Africa.
He's a naturalized American citizen.
Yeah. And it actually belongs to like 3 countries or something like that. So this guy is constantly attacked and they say it's unconstitutional. So the thing that people need to consider is that certain cabinet positions must go through a vetting process with interrogations, questions, and a voting process in order to be secured for those positions. Say Department of Defense.
We've seen all that over the last few weeks,
Attorney
right?
General, and stuff like that. Secretary of State.
Interior.
So these people are so important, they have to be vetted and put through this process. And the thing for people to consider is that presidents regularly designate people and ask them, they can be called upon to be envoys or representatives or ambassadors on behalf of the president, I guess, in the country. So he was designated, accepted the position from the president specifically to do what he's doing. So he's not breaking any law, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not a lawyer, but yeah.
Also, for people to consider is this. People have been designated representatives, ambassadors, and envoys for a very long time, and not just this country, all over the world. So leave Elon Musk alone is my takeaway from this.
Yeah, I think that they're going after him because they don't like what he's doing.
He's exposing too much corruption.
He's exposing corruption.
And endless corruption.
It's sad because, I can't understand how people can be all upset when he's showing the American public and the world as a whole, this is going to stop.
Yeah.
And here's what's going on. The bowels of secrecy have been lifted. The curtains are being pulled back like they were back in the 90s. This is nothing new to our country, except the people that are getting caught are from the previous couple administrations before the common sense folks were in there. And we know who all those folks are because 3 of them are sitting right here. You can't keep having this wasteful, and not have it bite you in the butt later on.
It's definitely gonna bite us. Gonna bite us bad. 36 trillion, almost 30. Did you say 37?
37.
It's on its way to 37.
37 trillion dollars. We
With
talked
a
about
T.
how much a trillion. Yeah, a trillion is an awful lot of money.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money, and I think that the tactics that the Democrats use, they're still using the same tactics they've used all along, and that is to try to say something like throwing a fried egg on the wall and seeing if it sticks. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. And so they're trying these different words like unconstitutional to see if it gains any traction. Does it gain any traction with the liberal media? Does it gain any traction in the polls? Do these terms gain any traction? That was the whole Russian thing,
It's a psyops. It's a psyops is what it is.
Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. They're trying to create a feeling and a thought in the voter's mind, and it's not sticking. I think that what they need to remember is that Trump won the election with fair and square, with a large majority on the Electoral College and with the popular majority as well. So most Americans are behind Trump. And the Democrats are fighting a battle trying to regain some majority. Somewhere they don't have it. All they have majority in some of the cities among folks who, frankly,
They're crazy.
they don't know any better.
Well, you got to
They're
remember,
run. Many cities are run very poorly. Democrat
Yes.
cities.
when the president's spokesperson stands there and says to the media in private, they come up to me going, "Great job you're doing. Hey, great job. You know, finally we got this transparency that we've been asking for the last 4 years. You know, great, but in public, you know, you're all kind of crazy there, lady." So that's all starting to come out. And, you know, again, it's like the 8-year-old who's got all of his toys all bundled up and doesn't want to share them. Give me that, give me that. We're telling the child, you got to share. Now, unfortunately, with what you got is money. Now, we're all about money. Everything's about money. And this Doge is now, everybody's like, no, wait a minute now. Nobody's saying in the media what's happened to the money.
Well, I can tell you.
Where's
it at? It's gone home in people's pockets.
But the question I have is, and everybody here and folks out there, are you ever going to see it again? Because somebody told me I'm going to get $5,000 back. No, ain't happening. They're going to tie that up in some kind of bureaucracy, and I don't want it.
No, I don't want it either. I don't think it'd be good. I think use it to pay down the debt.
Pay down
because
the
it's
debt.
borrowed money. Use it to pay down the debt. All the handouts during COVID, you know, when they sent us checks,
I'll take them.
I took them
'Cause I wasn't working.
Right, I'm not going to throw it away.
Free, don't go to the grocery store and get free food put in my bag. These
Right.
people want money.
Right.
But-
So I took it, but it was clear that was going to be inflationary.
It was.
And
It
it is.
was.
So we're going to pay way more than that back.
But you
in the
don't
long term.
you don't declare war on petroleum and expect, you know, gas prices not to affect my business and your business
Sure.
and everybody else is going, wait
That's
a
right.
minute, and you broke the supply chain because somebody 30 years ago went, I'll move it over there. Well, now guess what? It's all coming back. Just the other day, this guy stood there and went, I'm going to spend $500 billion to build circuits inside your country.
What company was that?
A Taiwanese company that makes microprocessors.
NVIDIA? Is that NVIDIA?
No, it was some other company I'd heard of before, but
Okay.
they're probably, you know, they're one of these master processor type companies. Or
Well, good. I'm glad they're going to do it.
at least it's going
So
to
they're
take 5
gonna-
years
But
to
it's
get
not
it built.
just that, Greg. It's like that's one
it's a
organization
piece.
giving 500. People giving hundreds of billions of dollars into multiple.
And that's the
Trump's
key.
just collecting.
And they-
People want to come meet with him and just give tons of money to this country.
They have to because they realize the tariff program, you know, we hold this stick and then we hold this carrot. They're taking the carrot because they know that stick is going to hurt them more than it hurts us because I just won't buy your stuff.
Yeah.
If you, like Mr. Schiff sat there last night, I wanted to, can't get through the TV. He's sitting there saying, well, Mr. Trump, he doesn't understand tariffs. Mr. Schiff, you're an
He
idiot.
specifically
Here's-
understands tariffs.
Yeah.
He's sitting there going, you know, and of course, this guy that was talking about Schiff was sitting there going, listen, buddy, shut up.
Yeah.
Tariffs are a ploy. It's to get the businesses back in the United States.
Right, right. All this stuff is a ploy. It's a card game. He's got a lot of cards in his hands. He's not, you know,
playing chess.
ending the game.
They're
He's just
playing checkers.
playing. Yep. He's just playing a card. This is the
Cold
tariff
hard.
card, and we'll see what happens next because he got some more that he's going to do later. So it's all part of the
That-
scheme.
Have you guys noticed? That it seems that Democrats are literally just making stuff up out of thin air?
Oh, yeah.
They've been
Just to
doing that
insult-
forever.
Just
Yeah,
to
that's their
insult
job.
Trump.
Disinformation.
They're saying the most improper, incorrect, inconceivably wrong statements with the hopes
but
that
the-
they could hook a couple idiots to get to believe it.
They might get a couple, but they're not going to get the majority
Right,
back
like
by
you
doing
said.
that. Because
Like you
I
said.
think that the majority have rounded the corner here, and the majority has said, "Listen, we're not buying that anymore." Because you got the left always votes left, the far right will always vote right. It's these folks in the middle that are moving a little bit. Now I'm astounded sometimes
Defense riders.
when some of these people, they buy into that Democrat stuff. I don't understand it. Then they pull back and then they demonstrate some common sense. They say, you know, I'm not going to believe that story anymore. But are some of them going to be peeled back? The Democrats certainly think so. That's why they're trying the same
2 more
language.
years, we'll know for sure. Because just like what happened in Trump's first term, it was he had it. He had everything in his hands, and he let it slip by because he let the Democrats misinform. Lie, lie, impeach, impeach, impeach. But Maxine Waters has been awful quiet lately.
I think that things are a little different this time. I'm hoping that they're a little
Absolutely.
different. He's got a great cabinet.
Yes, he does.
There's some comments that came out of the cabinet meeting. People remarking on how what a great pool of people is there.
They're spiritual, and they actually care about America. Did you know they had a prayer session before they?
I heard about that. Yeah.
How wonderful is that? That we're
Yeah.
getting back to our old
Yes.
school. This is something
Back
that would
to
have happened in
basics.
George Washington's days. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It would have happened and did happen in George Washington's day. And it hasn't been happening for a long time.
Very long.
And here, this is
what
what's
it's-
going on. And we got a group of people who are self-made. They're not in there trying. They're not in there for the graft.
Exactly.
You know, they're not in there for the graft, and that's not been the case in the past. In fact, the graft during the Obama administration and the Biden administration was always about, well, you do this, I'll do this, and you know, it was always about who's going to get what. And that's not going on in the Trump administration, which I think is great.
And I still believe he hasn't been reported that he's not taking a salary once again.
Trump, yes, that's my
because
understanding.
He gave it to the VA, from what I remember, and these idiots were all, well, you know, his foreign. If you can't get it right, don't talk about it. And what I'm waiting for is AI, which I've been fiddling with lately, and it works great, is to start seeing in the mass media the AI bot going do. Okay, here's what he just said. Here's what really he just said. You know, read between the lines, because and then do the Pinocchio on his face. Yeah, I don't care if it's just a Babylon Bee or it's NBC or CBS or ABC News, because I'm going to start watching it. I will click. I haven't watched ABC, NBC, and CBS in 6-7 years. I just don't. I look at my own news, or I get it from other people or other sources. You know.
You watch this show.
Well, yeah.
Get
And I want
educated.
you folks out
Tune
there
in
to
and
keep
get
watching.
educated here.
Tune in and get educated. But we got to sit here and understand it. The mass media, this what we're sitting here in front of, 40 years ago, didn't exist in this manner. It was high school. You could sit there and watch the TV during morning report or whatnot. Corporations were just starting to adopt all this. Now it's in your pocket. So what you said earlier is so very true. That's garbage. I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah.
And now it's the people can go to the polls while they're standing in line. I witnessed it. They don't need the pollsters out there. I'm going to tell you who I voted for as soon as I walk out, because my phone's going to be my GPS. But voting through your phone, I'm believing is going to remove and de-establish fraud in voting.
Voting from the phone is going to take fraud away?
It will.
Really?
Because
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
because the security systems that the federal government has is in my pocket. I can make sure through encryption and through just systems of data handling and the corralling of information that when I take the count, it goes up and it comes back down, because Elon just is now putting up Starlink, which is going to guarantee that freedom.
Yeah.
And the First Amendment device in my pocket, Obama's really tried hard to block, because when he did his international emergency broadcast test, letters were flying to the White House saying, you can't do that. Don't interrupt my telephone. That's my First Amendment right to communicate with my families. So we're waiting for that shoe to drop, where you can say, I don't want to have my information sold. I don't want the privacy issues. And the same thing with that kid that told everybody about the NSA and all their little shenanigans. But we digress.
That's a good point. You just said about Starlink.
Yeah.
He was there before the government was ready to do. He was ready to help immediately. And I hear people just again back
North
to
Carolina?
Musk.
Yeah.
He
Here we
doesn't
go.
care about the American people.
Yeah.
Really, he was the first one there to help get everyone set up
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
80,000 machines. went
Well,
out to the
we
public.
know what their tactics are.
Yeah,
And it's-
misinformation.
Yeah, misinformation. And
He's a bad guy.
certainly
He's a
hope
Hitler.
That,
You know.
yeah, all that, on and on and on again. I hope that the folks at home
Know
are
that
able to
and
discern
understand.
that. I think that they are, and I think that the election is evidence that they are. I hope that they continue in that thinking and don't let themselves get sucked back into
But do you
the
think
lies.
he'll enter politics when he gets done with his trip to Mars?
You know, I hope he doesn't go to Mars, frankly.
You hope he doesn't?
I hope he doesn't.
They do, or he doesn't go.
I hope he stays here.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I
He
hope
stays
here.
earthbound, but he's,
I want him earthbound.
I
yeah.
want him going to Mars because I want him to buy my washer and dryers. And refrigerators and freezers and whatnot.
Well, I want him
Another
staying here. But no, I don't think he's going to go into politics. I don't think he will. I think he likes the role that he has. I think
Having too much fun.
if there was another Republican presidency following Trump's. If Vance is in there and things are going well for Doge, then maybe I think
Now,
Vance
he's
would
only
keep
got that
that
for
guy.
a few more days, right? Because it's only 100 and something day temporary position, from what I'm understanding.
Well, I think I saw
thought it
something
went
in
to
the news
July.
today about Congress and this budget bill. Some of the conservative Republicans in Congress, the budget hawks,
Okay.
are saying they want to make sure that Doge is in the budget
Okay.
so that it's not ending.
So you don't whack.
Now, I
them.
didn't know that it was a temporary thing.
That's what I believe it
Okay.
was this temporary, because, you know, once he established the External Revenue Service and got this Doge thing kicking and running and going, that the states would eventually start going, we need to do Doge in our state.
Well, you know, it's very interesting that you point that out. My wife was looking at some of the social media here in Nashua, and there was some uninformed leftist who was railing
Rolling out.
about
Oh, okay.
educational freedom accounts, you know, were a voucher system. They're not. They're totally different. They don't know what they're talking about. My wife jumped on there and she comments on this stuff. I might read some of that stuff, but I never offer a comment because I just don't need to waste my time diving in there, you know, with some argument. But she said, you know, it's the public schools, you know, are spending a tremendous amount of money and they have poor results. We need Doge, my
In
wife
school-
said,
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
national
exactly.
public school system
Exactly.
to take a look. And you know what? These folks at City Hall, they don't want anyone pulling that curtain back to take a look at public
Time to
education.
vote 'em out.
Not Nashua Public
Vote
School
new people
System.
in.
No way.
'Cause
Because
you know-
a ton of money is spent. And if Musk and team were to come into Nashua or any city and take a look at in public school system, they'd find it. I mean, I saw it as an alderman. We saw it all the time. There's
Yeah,
a tremendous amount of waste. But there's so much energy because that money that's paid,
sad.
I said it earlier, it goes home in people's pockets. It's not stolen, but it goes home
The
in
luxury
paychecks
items
and all
yeah,
that stuff, and people want that. They got the unions backing them, and they're getting more than they would on
Yeah,
the
you're
free
getting more
market,
than-
you know,
yeah.
for not working that hard. We saw that certainly with what Doge has uncovered, you know.
Private
people not-
citizens would be like, "What the hell are you doing? I could do this for 10 times the amount of money and get twice as much done."
Right. So,
We're going to hit Zelensky getting kicked out of the White House.
yeah, let's talk about that. We're running out of time. We're going a lot about here. Let's
Well,
talk about
anyway,
Ukraine.
yeah, back to
Ukraine
some fun
is
stuff.
big news.
Ukraine.
Today is March 4th, Tuesday, and just this past Friday, we had the blow up in the Oval Office.
He
and-
deserved it. He deserved what he got, because you got to say thank you once in a while.
Or wear a suit.
But the key is, you know, what you were saying.
We're not wearing suits. We're okay.
I tried, but
We're not at the White House.
Springtime now.
We're not at the White
outside.
House. We're not at the White House. Yeah, it's a complex problem because, you know, Trump's a person, Vance is a person, Zelensky's a person, but there are people at war.
And it's real life stuff. Folks are getting blown up.
Yes, they are. They are. And it's terrible. And everything I heard, and maybe I'm hearing a little bit more about peace deal, but everything I heard coming out of Washington was, well, Zelensky's got to sign this deal. It's a deal for minerals. Well, what is it? Where's the peace? Where's the peace? What's Putin going to do if we buy these minerals, or what's going to happen? How is this going to end the war? And Zelensky's position, whether it was properly voiced or not, he said, listen, we need some securities. We need some assurance that once this is over, Putin's not going to do it again.
Yeah.
And Zelensky is saying essentially, believe me, he's going to do it again. And I think that would be right. Putin's going to do this again. He's done it
Put the
before.
band back together.
He's going to do it again. So what kind of protection can Ukraine have out of this peace deal to prevent that from happening? And I don't know. I didn't see anything in that deal. I didn't see any peace in that deal at all. All I saw was, here's some money. We want mineral rights. I don't understand.
I didn't
now,
see any money,
maybe I just
though.
don't know.
I didn't
No,
see.
we thought we were entitled to that
I
based on
didn't
all the money
see-
we gave them.
All right,
We've
so
already-
it's just
we've already. He's
okay.
done.
So the money that was given.
There you go.
Okay,
We
so
want
how
it
does
back.
that bring peace, or does that bring peace? Is this a peace deal, or is it
people-
an economic deal?
Two people have to go to the table at the same time. It can't just
Four
have
people
like
here.
four. Yeah.
Russia. They're the ones calling the shots right now, because all we're doing is talking. Until these people sit into a room and they lock the door and keep the media out, and every night somebody leaks something because they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to find out that Putin is sitting there going, I'm losing respect by my people because now they're attacking us. we allowed them to attack them because we gave them the materials to be able to do it with it. And he said, don't do that, or the line in the sand kind of stuff again, the red line. But
Well, Putin has to lose something in this deal.
he's got
Putin's the aggressor.
He is going to keep Crimea. His navy's there.
He's
He's
going to
get his borders relined. The nuclear power plants are still on this side of the line. All the weapons are gone from when the Cold War ended. That's all in the United States' hands. Thank goodness for all that hard-working folks out there that managed to get all those nuclear fission material in the United States being used in our power plants. If you didn't know that, that's what happened to them. The key is Russia needs to understand that Europe is feckless. They have no, we're spending all our money on them.
Yeah.
We're supporting.
No, they have to take care of themselves. Europe needs to.
World War II ended with us walking away, rebuilding the entire
Yeah.
planet. It's time to take the police and go home and let the United Nations come in. What I spoke with about you earlier was that's a good example of what the United Nations should be. Here.
defending the border.
No, not defending
defending
it,
it.
maintaining the peace. Russia, you are part of the United Nations. If I remember right, they
Yeah,
are.
but they're a bad player.
But they don't. They vote definitely with Iran, and they vote with China, and they
Yeah,
vote with
just-
other countries. But the key is, what's the United Nations use? Get rid of them, or make them do what they're supposed to do.
Well, I don't think they're going to be able to do what they're supposed to do. They're too apologetic too. They just don't. They have no guts, nothing.
So
No.
they need to be disbanded.
I think just
A
get
lot
rid
of
of them.
people I
But-
talk to want out of the.
Yeah, we should get out of it. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. We shouldn't be obligated to
So
do what they say
defund the
anyway.
UN also.
I would love to defund
Would
them.
Doge go into UN? what do you guys think about Doge?
Well, he ought to take a look at the money that we give to the UN. He's not has no authority in the UN, but he has authority with the United
pocketbook
States and
him.
what the United States says in the UN. So I think he could certainly do that. But what's going to happen? How is peace going to be affected between Russia?
They got to stop the shooting. So how about a ceasefire first? Let's start
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah,
And
I
then
just
we
don't
stop
trust
the
Putin.
weapons.
Putin is not to be trusted, and I
But I think the guy. I mean, I have to give him a grain of salt to say, Mr. Putin, you need to make your country. You already got the North Koreans involved, and that hasn't blown up in your face yet. But the defects will start to occur, and when they start making their way here, and North Koreans start coming into our country because we allow that defection, and under the understanding of, well, now you're going to be converted to a U.S. citizen, plus that intel that we can get from you about where you just came from to come over here. So I'm looking at an intelligence aspect of, do we welcome those foreign fighters into our country?
No.
Or you just interrogate them someplace else and put them adrift somewhere else?
put him somewhere else. I don't want him. I don't want him.
I'm afraid there'll be an intelligence nightmare, and then we've already got what's already here
Yeah.
from Biden's administration
Yeah.
that we're still trying to collect.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a sticky wick.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I want to see somehow peace.
Peace in Ukraine, or just peace in worldwide? Or?
Well, I'd like to see it worldwide, but I'm really talking about Ukraine now. I think
Okay,
that
okay.
Russia's been the aggressor. Ukraine, they didn't advance into Russia. Russia
That's true.
came
they
into
didn't, They
Ukraine.
didn't invade. The invader became Russia.
Yeah, the invader was Russia, and I think that Russia needs to pay a price for that. So I hope that whatever peace deal there is,
Now,
Russia
should
pays
Belarus
some kind of
pay a
price.
price for supporting Russia? Because their troops are still up there in Belarus.
Yeah, Belarus, it's another puppet
Regime,
country,
yeah.
puppet regime of Putin. And I think that I don't want to see evil rewarded. I don't want to see
Spoils of
aggression rewarded.
Do we
And-
rebuild them?
If Trump says that Zelensky doesn't want peace, well, I think he
goes.
does. Putin doesn't want peace. I think Putin wants Ukraine.
He wants to put the band back together.
He
and that's part of the
that's right. He
band.
wants to put the band
No,
back
he
together.
wants the bread basket so he can feed
And
his army.
that's the band.
Because that's
Yeah.
where the
Well,
food comes from.
I got news for you, folks. I've been watching these videos of these drones blowing up these people, and I'm going, those are all farmlands. It's going to take years to unmilitarize because everything there is toxic now, and I don't want a piece of nothing in my family's mouth that came from Ukraine because you don't know what that material we all know about the waste of hazards of war and the materials that are left because
Yeah. Well, we don't buy food from Ukraine, do we?
yes, we do. We get their grain, our oil from seed, from sunflower. We get barley. We get, it's just, I can go on and on, but we're going to run
I
out of
wasn't
time.
aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of food here, so I don't think we
they're a
bought.
bread basket.
They are a bread basket, but we have our own wheat and our own corn, and
Well, with the trade agreements that we have and all
some
these
of ours
different-
goes there, some of theirs comes here.
Exactly, and some prices are lower. We all these agreements.
true.
Third, you never know what's in your hot dog bun until you look at the ingredients and have it analyzed by a scientist. So stop eating that stuff.
Yeah.
Buy local, folks. Buy local.
Well, my wife's getting ready to get the garden going this year. We're
Yeah,
talking
me
about
too.
maybe doing
Me
some
too.
corn in our yard.
Yeah, I got a couple cows. I just looked at they're getting ready to birth, and I'm going, can I have that one? He goes, yeah. You want the pigs too? And sure.
Where are you doing this?
Oh, at Hollis. I got my source. He's a prepper.
Wow.
I can't turn you on to him because if I do, then I'll lose my cow.
So you buy a cow yourself?
I buy the whole cow. I have 4 freezers in my possession.
Live on the hoof?
Yes, sir. I pay for their vet bills. I pay their feed. I pay. When he puts them out in the field, I go out there at 3 o'clock in the morning on certain nights and guard that land.
Really?
As part of our agreement for being a prepper.
When is the cookout?
We don't have a cookout. Some of it goes to the church, and some of it goes to my flock. And until you come to my, folks, I'm a prepper. If you didn't know that, and we have
My
our
wife would love
fold.
to have chickens, and we have a
We
friend.
can't have them in Nashville, but I did check 45.
You have chickens
foot.
in Nashville.
I have chickens right on the other side of the fence. I hear them every morning.
If you do,
Rooster.
then they got to be they're permitted. Yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
so we'll talk about that some other time.
I want a cow.
Yeah, me too. Man, that's why I got mine. That's why I can say.
All right. Guys,
4-H.
thanks. This has been good.
Been a pleasure.
Time goes fast all the time, so I
It
appreciate
does.
you coming in. We'll do it again. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm David Schoneman. You're here watching Perspectives. I'm here with Dave Narkunas and Greg Faith. Hope you enjoy the conversation, and I imagine you're having a lot of similar conversations around the dinner table. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Just send us an email and comment on the video down below, and we'll answer all comments that we see. But thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying it. We'll see you next time.
Bye now.